Hello guys, welcome to BISPsolutions.com. My name is Amit and today I'm going to show you another interesting example of as to how one can perform stress testing in planning. So Oracle has got one beautiful command called SimulateConcurrentUsage. As the command indicate, it will let you execute multiple process concurrently with different users. How it works practically, let's see this live. First, we see the official definition of it. So what does this command do? It's an EPMAutomate command. This command can be used to validate the performance of the environment, how good your application is performing, to verify that the response time is acceptable when the service is under the load during specific operations. Let's say your application up and running, it is into a production environment. And your post implementation, you are testing for the first time during the month end close process, which is a peak hours of your application, or during the seeding process. These are the peak hours or peak activities. During this process, what is your application response time? So if you look in the bottom, this is the kind of report system going to generate, right? Now let's see this live step by step. So when you look at this command, it requires a couple of arguments. Simulate concurrent uses. Let me open this command into EPMAutomate. So this command takes a couple of arguments and we see each argument one by one. So I can perform various tasks through EPMAutomate. And in today's example, I'm going to just show you two simple operations. First, we are going to open data form and then I put some value and hit the save button. So I have a sample data form over here. I'm going to open this data form. This is called expense form where I'm recording compensation expenses. So when I input this compensation expenses, remember I log in as Amit, only one user, and hit this button save. Some basic calculation I've written called payroll taxes to be calculated, right? So I input salary and payroll taxes to be calculated. So there's a very tiny and simple logic written over here to calculate payroll taxes. Payroll taxes is 30% of the basic salary, isn't it? So 30% 3,900. Now I executed this command manually. Now I wanted the same command to be executed by 500 users concurrently. Then what is the response time of my application? This is exactly what we're trying to do. Okay. So in order to achieve this, we need a couple of things. First, I need file called requirement. Then I need open form and save form. So first I show you an open form. So there's an appendix Oracle given one sample scenario over here. Concurrent uses, how it works. So creating a requirement file, this is the first step. As the name indicate requirement file, this file lists down the activities to be performed. And the header of this file is the operation I'm going to perform. Let me show my requirement file to you. This is my requirement file. And this has to be CSV file. Okay, so this is my requirement file, very simple. First argument, the operation you're going to perform, the type of operation. So I'm going to perform two operations, open form and save form. Which database application object you're going to open, right? Or you're going to work on. So in this example, I'm going to work on data form called expense plan. This is my data form. And therefore, my argument number second is the absolute address of the artifact, which is called expense form, this is data form, and it exists in my library forecast folder, correct? The second argument has a number of users. For the sake of testing, I'm going to run this with 10 users. Probably take few additional seconds. So 10 users, or probably I can make it 5 users so that it runs relatively faster. And the last argument is a file, an input file where the information is stored. So I mentioned to the system that I'm going to open this file. And if this data form has certain point of view, and probably I like to run the same data form multiple times with different point of view. For example, in this case, I've got multiple versions, working, what if, best case. I could run the same form by passing multiple arguments, like multiple version value. This is what exactly we did. The first file is openform.csv. Let me open it for you. Openform.csv. This is my form. Open this a notepad. Now look at the correlationship. The requirement file invokes this, open this CSV file, open file, open underscore form.csv. This file contain point of view. See this in my scenario, my version is dynamic. And right now I'm running this only for working version. In the subsequent example, I show you more complicated cases where I would run this for multiple version. This is a simple scenario. I'm running only for one point of view. The second action is after opening a form, I need to save this form. To save this form, what argument do you need? Let me open form and save form. Two instructions. So open form, right? When you open form, this file contains point of view, correct? In my case, the one point of view only. Second is called save form. What does it do? As the name indicate, you can input some value and hit the save. When you say hit the save button, same thing this task is going to perform. So this file, this file, this is a file, save file. Let me open. From here I open. Save form. It could have any name. I just give a save underscore form. This file, what it does, first argument is same point of view. Second argument takes rows and column and the data. Now let's see this. In our data form, if you look at carefully, yeah, what is my point of view? My row and column. It's FY25, right? January month. FY25 January month. And the column is my, okay, the year. I can even skip this year as well, because year is in a point of view, is not in my columns. I can remove this. So for January month, salary, this intersection, this is my data. February month, and this I also make it January month. January month, 616110 miscellaneous expense. This is my data. So I'm going to input this data. The cell contain the intersection for which data is to be input. This is my data, right? And this is my name of my account, 58006110, which is salaries and payroll taxes respectively. So when I hit this form, system is going to invoke one business rule, as I did few minutes before. Let me do it again. I input 2000 over here, hit the save button. One business rule likely to be invoked, the business rule invoked, and you can check this business rule in your job console, application job. There you can check the one business rule executed 15 seconds before. This all I did it manually. Exactly same thing. I'm going to do it now. So finally, you have got three files. Requirement file, which maintain a list of activities to be performed. The first task in my story is open form. This open form file, which contains a point of view, right? And point of view. And the second file is save file, which has an intersection of the data form. Data is going likely to be saved. For the sake of simplicity, I made it very simple. So three files we have. Now we got all the requirement, all this required information in order to execute this task. Correct. So what I did, I created a batch file. Rather than executing again and again, I created a batch file. You could have execute this command one by one. I mean, it's up to you, right? So for the sake of testing, I'm running this command one by one. So first line is obviously I'm going to log into my instance. Log into the instance, which I did it over here. So you see I encrypted password and I'm going to pass this password using a password file. So EPMAutomate login name, username, password and URL. Username is Amit, password and URL. Login is done. Now I like to delete this requirement file, which probably already exists in my system, right? So I'm going to delete this file, requirement.zip file. Now make sure the requirement.zip file contain all the files. For example, in our case, just few seconds before I modify my open and save file. Okay, so I'm going to zip this again. Let me do it for you. I'm going to zip this again. I'm going to exclude this first. Let me remove this requirement file, and I would render it once again. Right click and zip it. Okay, zip, and name I'm going to give it requirement.zip file. So rename it to requirement.zip. This file I'm going to upload into my inbox and Outbox Explorer. Correct. This is what exactly I did. So I deleted file. The next step, I'm going to upload this file. See this, I've mentioned over an inbox. There's a kind of bug, if you don't add inbox, it may not work as you're expecting. The file got uploaded. And now I'm going to run simulate concurrent uses, which has got two arguments, the name of requirement file, which is zip file, and I would like to send this to my email address. So email ID. So I made a notification email. Okay, that's it. So I run this command. Now I have to wait for a few seconds. This takes few minutes. Okay, once again, let me log in. This command failed. Let us log in now. See, this I executed simulate concurrent uses and the two argument name of the requirement file and to whom you want to send an email. I just ran it few minutes before it failed because my session got expired. Anyways, this is going on. It probably takes few seconds. The reason, because in my document, in my open file, I passed 5 users. Okay, look at your requirement file. I'm running this command for 5 users, isn't it? And every time it opens a file, right? And then input some data. The moment data gets input, system is going to invoke business rule behind the screen. So it'll take few more seconds. And for the sake of simplicity, I did it only for 5 users. Now, the outcome of this process that I would see an email, yes, I receive an email, correct? Now you see this email, this is for 5 users, isn't it? 5 users and both operations pass. So the time taken, first, the minimum duration, maximum duration, average time. I often take average time. To open this form for 5 users, this is an average time. This is in millisecond. So fairly good. See, the read operation doesn't take a lot of time, but write operation takes time. So 1 second 34, 1 second 34 millisecond. It is still okay for 5 users, the average time, right? This is exactly what you wanted to know about it. Now look at the other side of it. Since I open this data form and I input some number and there is a behind the screen on top of this data form, when I hit the save button, there's a business rule associated with this data form. Simple business rule, which calculates my taxes. Isn't it? This is my tax. Calculate taxes, which is 30%. So the moment I open this data form and save it, automatically behind the screen, the business rule gets invoked. And the same you can see it over here right away in application job. This would have invoked 5 times because I use 5 times. See, the business rule invoke 5 times. Do you see that? Why? Because I pass argument five users. Open data form and save it right back. And the final outcome is this. So this is 360-degree view. Forms getting open, saved for 5 users, the minimum, maximum, and average duration. So that's it for today. I would probably create one more advanced example of simulate concurrent uses and show you more advanced case. I ran it only for one user, isn't it? There's an outcome. In the next example, I'll run it for 50, 60 user with multiple point of view, more advanced arguments I'm going to take and show it to you. For today, this is all. Thank you very much for connecting. Have a good day.